Hey guys, and welcome back to another video, the last recap of the season, I guess, the last meaningful recap, game recap, as we go through the Carlton versus GWS game, in the game that I caught a little bit of it, but I didn't catch too much of it as some other things were switched on as well because of the time, it being 6:30 on a Sunday, or something that it started at. I always go out at about 7:30 on a Sunday anyway, so I usually miss the last quarter of games, let alone the last 3 quarters, so I only caught the first quarter or so, and I was sort of tracking it on my phone, so I didn't really catch who was doing too well, but just looking at the stats here before I switch over. Carlton had a shocker after quarter time. I remember them being up at it was like 21-7 or something like that they were up, and then I remember checking and it was something like 58-105 or something like that. So Carlton must have kicked 15. Was it 59 or something, or was it 49? I think they got thumped. To be honest with you, it might have been 59, and they kicked 2 goals, 2 to no score to GWS to close the margin a little bit to 32 points. But it was something like 100 and I want to say it was like 98 to thinking about 98 to 39 or something point swing basically since that point when it looked pretty comfortable for Carlton after Kerno had kicked his goal to get the Coleman. So yeah, just a really woeful performance from Carlton. I think they are gettable. I mean, Wiedering is fine. I don't know about Akers, what happened there with that injury, as I wasn't watching the game. And don't think Carlton had any injury worries or anything, so I think they're fine. GWS, I don't think they had any injury worries either, so they're fine. Except for Bedford getting suspended for choosing to bump and hitting a guy in the throat, so we'll see what happens with that tonight. But I expect his suspension to stand just because he chose to bump and got a guy in the throat or in the head. It should be the same thing, as a throat injury is very dangerous as well. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So I guess the key takeaway was Cogs can have a weird role that on paper looks like it doesn't work. He gets shifted around a little bit, but at the end of the day, he's still going to average 101, 102. He's done that the last 3 years or something. If we look at Cornelio here, if I just get this off. Cornelio here, you can see if we go to full player profile 2022, he averaged 98 there or thereabouts. 2021, he I think got injured in 2 games or something like that. This doesn't really show it, but I'm just looking for low percentage games. You can see here, I think he got injured twice in that year. We look at here. Yeah, he got injured, I think, twice in that year, so that's why his numbers were so low. 17 for 78 in 2020 in the COVID effective year, where that score is about at 3/4 time or just after 3/4 time, so that equates to around about 101, 102. 103 here, 110, 95. You see he's always around that marker there. And yeah, so he is always around that marker. Even here, I'm guessing he had an injury game somewhere here where he just stunk it up. I can't really tell because the AFL app or this AFL fantasy doesn't really work terribly well. But the main takeaway I think from this is Cornelio is always going to be consistent. He's always going to be that guy. I don't know whether he will keep. I don't think he will keep forward status. I do think he will lose it, which will be quite annoying, and he'll have to gain it back. But if he does keep forward status, which I don't think he will, could be interesting. Let's just see at the GWS. Let's look at 2023. Let's look at the numbers. 78%. There is no chance he is keeping forward status. So yeah, he's gone from forward status. But yeah, he was a really consistent forward. And yeah, sucks to lose him. But I mean, it's probably better for the game that we have more. That will have more inconsistency, I should say. I guess more differentials. In the forward line, it's not going to be the same 6 year on year, pretty much, which was Taranto, Cogs, Dunkley. Who else has always been there or thereabouts? This year you had Butters and Rosie, you had Gordon as well, so there was 6 or 7 guys you basically had to choose from. And it was just about getting the right 6 rather than the 7th guy, I guess. So yeah, with back to Carlton, you had De Koning 92, Walsh 87, just a lot of unders, guys. I mean, Walsh had just a terrible start. Will be interesting to see Walsh's role. I mean, if we go over to Carlton, just using this to see what is his role going to be defined as. 52% for Sam Walsh, so interesting to see where he'll be defined as. Could he get that defender status, which would be huge if he is, because he'd be around about that 94, 95, and I think there is a little bit of upside there. Cherisard, McGovern, Newman had a down game, but I'm still fine with bringing him in for the output that he brought. Hewitt finally had a down game as well, but I think he's still so much value across the season if we do have that 23rd player actually as an interchange rather than a sub. Wiedering, Akers, Cunningham. Did Cunningham do it again? Oh no, sorry, that was someone else. Was it Akers or whatever? Yeah, he started off strong, must have been subbed out with an injury. Fisher, Dow had a really strong start, faded. Kerno got his 2 goals and then got a third one, it looks like, but then did nothing else. Mackay did alright, didn't actually do alright at all. Cottrell, Kemp, Fogarty, Hollands, Durden, Always, yeah, everyone there. Then you got here GWS, you had Whitfield 119, huge effort from him. I just don't, he's too injury prone, and that's the problem, is that he doesn't consistently get games. I mean, if we look at here and we go to Whitfield, I have a feeling you'll find that he plays 21, 18, 15, this was a COVID affected year, 18, 16, 22, he played all the games in 2018, 15, 19, and 21. So he's always missing at least 2, 3, 4 games pretty much every year. So he's racked up in about the last 8 years, probably missing 30 or 40 games, which is just a little bit too inconsistent. Kelly, 111, same sort of problem with Whitfield. Tom Green is a guy that I think is still there, but do you want to go for value next year, or do you want to go for a guy that's going to put up at least 110 or so every game? Could push the 120 barrier, to be honest, but we'll wait and see on that one. Cogs, as I was talking about earlier, Toby Green had a really good finish, didn't have to get subbed out in this game. Daniels, 91, really consistent and could be one to look at next year, considering he averaged 70 or so. But will he average 90? I don't think he will. Bedford, 83. Briggs. Himmelberg is getting, his average is just getting up too high almost to pick him, because he's almost going to have to average like 95 as a backman to play him up forward, etc. It's quite hard to get him in, but I do think he'll have the numbers to keep his forward status. But I don't think he'll be a good enough player to hop in that forward line, but we'll have to wait and see with who gets forward status, to be honest. Lloyd, Ash, and Perryman, Engwin, Keefe, Cumming, Ward, Riccardi, Hogan, Buckley, Brown, Haynes, and McMullen. Again, nothing really to report about McMullen. That pretty much is the video. A very, very short video, this one. Just because these guys, there's nothing much to talk about. They don't really have any rookies here looking quickly that impress, to be honest. And yeah, just these two are sort of Carlton and GWS, good fantasy scorers all around their players, but they sort of rely on their top 6 very heavily. So can't really look at them too heavily, I don't think. But that is the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. Goodbye.